boy. This is bad. Now our transition's in between. Sean has an opportunity to make me bust up and laugh seconds before I have to speak again. The very same hot rods are now on the ground.
We love these things.
We love these things. Get rid of them. Next segment. Moving on. All right. So, quick question. Every time that someone comes in and they say, hey, quick question for you, it's going to take forever. It's never a quick question, or it's never a quick answer, I should say. The question itself is quick, never a quick answer.
Yeah.
And that can be for multiple reasons. That can be because we need more information from you. That can be, what are you trying to get out of this? It can be, what are you actually looking for as far as a question or an answer? There's all sorts of different things that go into it.
Or my favorite, the loaded question.
Or
That's
the loaded question.
That's a loaded question.
That's a loaded question.
That's a loaded
exactly. So, today's quick question, we get all the time, and I can't believe I haven't thought of this until this episode. This could have been one of our first ones. How long should I wait before I change my drum heads?
Right.
That is not a quick answer. There's no.
It certainly isn't.
Oh, after this date
every
they
3
expire.
weeks. Yeah. Or
That we should do
twice
that.
a
We sell a
year.
lot more drum heads.
Yeah,
we put an expiration date, like
Oh
they
my
do
God.
on like fruits and
Dude,
put
can
an
you
expiration
imagine
date. Drums, etc. Head expires this date.
That's brilliant.
Like milk.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's brilliant.
Yeah, best if used by.
Yeah. Or like the sticker when you get your oil changed.
Yeah.
this
Oh
many
my
miles.
gosh.
Yeah.
This many gigs
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
This is all gold. This is great. But yeah, that isn't a quick answer. It's a quick question, I guess, but it doesn't have a quick answer because it all depends on how much you're playing the drums, how hard you're hitting the drums, what sort of tone you want to get out of the drums. Because truth be told, I have a few drum sets, but my main set that I had set up at home and I was practicing on, now that I'm back out gigging again, those heads have been on that kit for a long time. So,
Yeah.
but if you mic them up, they still sound pretty good. But there's stick marks all over them. I would say if they get dented, you need to change them out.
Yeah.
You got those divots. You're no longer going to be able to tune them up and get the tonality out of the drum that you need. But I'm in your boat where I'm a light hitter too. So it's more likely that someone else is going to do that if we're sharing a kit. Than myself after a long time.
Yeah.
There is kind of a period, especially with coated heads, I've come to realize, where when you first put them on, you're unsure about them, and then they kind of get broken in. Once you get your drum heads a little broken in, then they kind of hold tuning better and just kind of feel better and sound better. So you don't want to swap them out. When guys talk about going on tour and swapping out heads every night or something, in my mind I'm like, you didn't even get not even me. I'm not upset about them wasting it, but in my mind I'm like, you didn't even break it in, get it sounding good yet. I mean, you kind of gotta let that head stretch. The way drum heads are made now, they're plastic, they're mylar, they got glue in there that's got to crack when you tune it up, and they got to kind of sit on the drum and kind of get into that place. But like you said, as soon as you get a divot like that, you're no longer going to be able to get what you want out of it. But it's one of those things that is preference.
Yeah. When I bring a kit home, which I hope my wife isn't listening, but it's pretty often. I'm a big collector, and I'll usually get new heads on it. I'll just order a bunch of new heads, or get new heads. But as far as like if I'm playing a drum, if I go, I don't know, if I loosen all the tension and there's a big old belly in that drum head, I'm like, you know what? Chances are, even if there's not dents, when I have it tightened, if it's loose and it's sagging in the middle, I'll just replace it. My wife thinks that I get drumhead, like a shipment of drum heads like once a week, which is not true. Or maybe it is. I don't really know.
But every time she recognizes the box, right?
She's like, God damn it.
Yeah. She recognizes the tape.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that there is some. I was at an open mic a few years ago, and this guitar player went up, and he was out of tune. And like he played the first song out of tune, and it was like obvious. You know what I mean? It was obvious.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh boy, this is gonna be a long night. Like when am I got? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And And then it was all for a setup. It was all setup. He had us all going. And then he was tuning up his guitar before his next song. And just, it was pure dad joke, like moment. He said, yeah, tuning's mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. And then he went on to play another song. But he like played 2 songs that night. And his first one sounded horrible just so he could get the dad joke off.
Oh my gosh.
Well, sometimes, you gotta make it hit.
I know.
Gotta make
the
that
dedication.
thing land.
Yeah.
It was beautiful, but also I'd been had, so I felt embarrassed.
Yeah.
That was good though. But good rule of thumb: if you're, say, a parent or someone that is not the drummer, go check out the heads. If you see any active dents in it, it's time.
Yeah.
But if it's been a little bit, and say it's been a year and your kid's been really playing every day or every night, you know what I mean? Like you might have to change. If your kid's playing every night, you might have to change it 2-3 times a year. Depending on how hard they're hitting, especially and it's kind of reverse of what people would think. When you're first starting out, you tend to go through a lot of drum heads more quickly, and that's just because of technique. And the angles you have things at. If you got your drums at, a 45-degree angle and you're constantly hitting hard down, that's going to divot a lot faster than when you have a little bit more technique and you're flattening stuff out a little bit and you're really striking in a central point on the drum head, then you're not going to go through heads quite as often. But then hopefully at that point, you're gigging more and you're playing more, so then it kind of balances itself out a little bit.
Yeah.
Or when your head breaks.
Yeah.
When it breaks,
it's time.
100% you need a new drum head. There's no gray area there.
Oh, man. I played a gig. I was pretty young, young teenager. And then we played this battle of the bands, and we were using a house kit, but you would bring your breakables, what we consider breakables, and I brought mine and I played a gig, and it was with a metal band. It was with a heavy metal band, which I don't play. And I don't even listen to heavy metal, but it was the only people that were around my age that were playing music were into this music. So I, gravitated towards that.
Yeah.
And the band that went on before us, or maybe after us, it must have been after us, I played. Mm-hmm. Well, he broke his snare head, during the first song, and his bandmates are like, "Yo, let us get your snare." And I'm like, "No, you're not gonna." I've seen the guy play. I'm like. No, I don't play like that.
He just broke his drum.
You want him to break mine too?
Right.
It's come on, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he just turned it over.
Started smacking the bottom.
And it broke immediately. And I'm like, see?
This guy's breaking heads left and right.
Some of us are drummers.
Lessons learned, yep.
Some of us are not,
Yep. You learned a lesson that day.
Yeah.
And hopefully he did, but probably not.
Probably not. Yeah.
I have an embarrassing drum head breakage story.
Yeah, go for it.
This was... So I have my... I should say this. I saved up my allowance money as a kid when I was first getting into drums, and then and this is a big it's not a big inspirational thing, but I spoke at the Total Percussion seminar last night or yesterday, and I was telling the kids, I'm like, learning how to save money is really important. Whether you're making this much or you have $3 allowance or whatever, it's important to kind of learn that. And I saved mowing money, that kind of thing, allowance type peons. And I took all that money and I went into Drums Etc. to buy my first drum set. I actually have the receipt. Hang on.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. This is actually the receipt from my first drum set, right? And I bought it from Carl. Carl sold it to me.
Carl Greathouse of I Wish I fame.
I Wish I. Go check him out.
Local band.
But this after tax was $741.95.
Cool.
That's what I spent on my drums, right? But I bring that up because I take them home. Maybe a week later, we have band practice, and I'm all psyched. I was borrowing drums up till this point, so I had a band, and I was like, "Oh, this is a great opportunity." I just got a new girlfriend. And I was like, "Oh, come to band practice," which is a mistake that's been made many times. Yeah,
No.
Come to band practice.
I've never heard of that.
So I invite this new girlfriend over for band practice. We literally start in first song, the snare head breaks. And I literally just bought this. I only have one thing. And this is why I rag on Sean to this day. Because it broke lug to lug. Like you could see the line and I was like, this is uneven tension. And I didn't know anything about tuning drums. So I blame Sean. In my hypothetical
I didn't sell you that drum
thought
set.
process, Sean was the one that got it out of the box and put it on the floor before I bought it.
Nope.
And he's the one who didn't think to back everything out and tune it up properly.
Nah,
Even
wasn't
tension,
me.
folks. It's very important.
Well, thinking of that story, you know what's worse than bringing your girlfriend to band practice? Is bringing your girlfriend to band practice while your wife is also there.
Oh.
Talk about a dad joke.
That is,
Wow.
yeah.
That's
well,
good.
hey.
I thought you were going to say bring your girlfriend to the drum shop.
I don't know if...
Because that's hit or miss. It depends.
Yeah. Well,
or wife or
I
whoever.
mean, I go clothing shopping, with
Yeah.
my wife, so she should come into here.
She should, but a lot of times you just see this glazed look over the
if you're
girlfriend or wife's face,
Yeah.
and a drummer is he's so excited about everything, and so are we. But
Yeah.
I just seen it so many times where you could tell that they are not interested in anything, and
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
not interested
And
at all.
It's definitely
Rightfully
not
so.
early on. That's not impressive.
Yeah.
It's
And
not
it-
impressive to a girlfriend early on to walk around and point things out at a
Not
drum
so
store.
much. Unless she's a drummer and then she's a keeper.
I
you
was
better
going to
make
say,
her one.
Listen,
that's what I was getting at.
the
and
anomalies
we have
exist.
a lot of female drummers. It's
Yeah.
So it goes the other way too, where the husband is just has no interest in drums and
Yeah.
doesn't like them or just could care less.
That's what parking lots are for. Just stay out there.
Yeah.
Let us do
Crack
our
the
thing.
window.
We've got a nice waiting table. Oh, brother.
Yeah.
This is getting dangerous. I feel like we should move on.
Okay, here we go.
So if you guys have any segment ideas, or even if you want to throw something in the ring for Crank It Up, Turn It Down that we haven't talked about yet on the show, feel free, leave it in comments on wherever you're watching this or the clips or whatever. And then also we have a Discord community that we started. So there's links to that on our YouTube in the description and on Spotify in the description. Click on that and you can kind of join, and it's a way for our community to get to know each other. We just started, so there's not much out there yet. But you can say where you're from, where you're tuning in from, and then post all your ideas there. That's the quickest way for us to be able to see it and then talk about things you're interested in on the show. But I think it's time we can jump into kind of a deep dive into your story. If that's all right with you.
Sure.
So we'll hop into Between the Plots.